Developing this morning, some of the family of Mark Hortman are hoping to use their voices to have impacts on the nomination of the U.S. Attorney General.
They believe the acting Attorney General failed them by not pursuing capital punishment against Vance Belter, the man responsible for killing Mark Hortman and his wife, former Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman, along with attacking state lawmaker John Hoffman and his family.
Let's get to the latest from the live desk. That's where Maria Lisignoli is with how this could possibly impact things in Washington, D.C. Maria.
Well, acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche is currently fighting to formally take on that title. But as you said, some of Mark Hortman's family members are fighting to stop that from happening. Last June, Vance Belter murdered Mark and his wife, Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman. Mark's father, brother, and sister all say they wanted to see Belter executed for his crimes. Instead, the Attorney General's office approved a plea deal that will ensure Belter spends the rest of his life in federal prison. Mark's family members tell WCCO that they believe Blanche not only ignored President Trump's direction to use capital punishment whenever possible, but they believe he was soft on Belter because his targets were Democrats.
If Mark and Melissa had been a different party, the death penalty would have applied to their killer.
Last month, the day Belter was sentenced, a spokesperson for Blanche told WCCO, quote, "Even when capital punishment may appear to be the just sentence, significant legal or evidentiary obstacles may leave no legally sustainable basis to seek it." The indication that there were legal roadblocks contradicts what we heard from the U.S. Attorney for Minnesota in June, who said that his team would have prevailed had they sought the death penalty. He also said that he and Blanche were in total agreement about pursuing a plea deal instead. So some contradiction there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And interesting to see if this will have any impact, as the Senate is expected to take a vote within the next day or so.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's right now it's pretty evenly divided right there on the line. All right, Maria, thank you.
The sheriff of Minnesota's largest county says she's facing threats from federal officials over a policy in place before the ice surge. But some experts tell us it's about pressure, not enforcement.
Now, one of those experts WCCO spoke with was criminal defense attorney Joe Tamburino, and he calls the charges performative. Since July, Sheriff Dwana Witt says that federal officials have hand-delivered 17 letters to her office. Those letters are warning her that if she doesn't turn people over who are wanted for immigration reasons, she would be arrested. Sheriff Witt says that many of the requests that her office receives are immigration detainers, which she says are often not signed by a judge. She also says that many requests arrive after a person has already been released from county custody.
There's actually laws that say that we cannot hold on to people past our longer than our legal authority to do so without having a warrant.
Criminal defense attorney Joe Tamburino, who we mentioned earlier, is not affiliated with this case. He weighed in on the matter for us, and he says there's no legal basis to charge Sheriff Witt.
I thought it was excessive and performative. There is absolutely no basis in law to arrest or charge Sheriff Witt with witness tampering. Absolutely none.
Now, despite these warnings, these letters, Witt says she will not change her approach. She also says her focus will remain on protecting Hennepin County residents and keeping communities safe. President Trump is once again trying to limit birthright citizenship with new executive orders, including one that bans so-called birth tourism.
CBS News' Clarissa Lawson tells us it comes just 5 weeks after the Supreme Court ruled that any person born on U.S. soil is a U.S. citizen.
Unfortunately, we had a bad decision.
Just over a month after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down President Trump's attempt to limit birthright citizenship, the president is taking another shot at it.
We're making adjustments because it's very unfair.
He signed new executive orders that aim to restrict birthright citizenship for certain categories of people, like children of foreign government employees, including ambassadors, children of anyone considered an alien enemy of the United States, and babies of foreign nationals on a visa for the purposes of giving birth on American soil, a practice known as birth tourism.
Birth tourism is by definition a fraud on the American system, on the American taxpayer, on the American visa.
Back in late June, the High Court upheld in a 6-3 decision that the 14th Amendment means everyone born in the United States is an American citizen at birth, regardless of their parents' immigration status.
I think these are ripe for a legal challenge. I think there are portions of the executive orders that, if they are read narrowly, might withstand review.
The American Civil Liberties Union condemned the new orders and predicted they would fail in court, writing in a statement, any executive order that tries to rewrite birthright citizenship will meet the same fate as the last one. Carissa Lawson, CBS News, New York.
A case against Minnesota Republican gubernatorial candidate Mike Lindell will continue. This is after a judge decided that there is probable cause to believe he violated campaign laws. All of this stemming from this 4th of July parade here, where Lindell gave away pillows to promote his candidacy. The complaint that was filed on July 22nd alleges that Lindell threw pillows to spectators during this parade here in Delano. The pillows are said to have come in packaging which said Mike Lindell for governor. They're valued, they say, at $34.95. This is according to the complaint. However, Lindell denies that price. The case will move forward to a panel of 3 administrative law judges and an evidentiary hearing. And new this morning, a Thailand school shooting has left at least 6 people dead and more than a dozen injured.
Police say a student opened fire at a high school outside of Bangkok today. 3 teachers, 3 students were killed. The alleged shooter was taken to the hospital in serious condition. According to police, a motive still being investigated. They believe the gun was taken from a member of the alleged shooter's family.
As kids across the country get ready to start a new school year, millions of them could lose their free school meals. This is because of changes to SNAP. So the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act overhauled SNAP. It has led to 4.5 million people losing food stamps since this law was enacted. So that includes 1.5 million children. This is according to the Nonpartisan Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. So there are 2 ways that losing SNAP benefits can result in a child losing their free meals at schools across the country. The first one is that kids living in households on food stamps, they're automatically eligible for free school meals. So losing that SNAP eligibility, that ends that. But even if an individual child does not lose their SNAP benefits, there's a second way that they could lose those free meals at school, and that is if there are fewer kids in a school district who receive SNAP that can block the district from qualifying for the community eligibility provision. That provision allows high poverty schools to give every student free meals without individual applications. Now, overall, 18.3 million students across the U.S. could lose access to free school meals. This is according to a 2025 analysis by the Urban Institute. That's a nonpartisan think tank. Now, here in Minnesota, it's different here. We have our own free school meals program. So students at participating schools, which is most public schools in Minnesota, they can still get breakfast and lunch. Those will not be impacted by SNAP changes.